Hello everyone. One of the most favorite topic of UPSC from which there have been multiple times questions in prelims and in mains, that is Chola Empire. Again, the most important topic from the early medieval period. Right. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss the contributions of one of the most powerful king belonging to the Chola dynasty, that is Rajendra Chola I. Now, why we are going to discuss about him? Because there have been mention of the name of Rajendra Chola and his contributions in news articles, like roughly three now news articles I have got which has mentioned about the contributions of Rajendra Chola I, and that is the reason we are going to discuss him. Okay, let's see what's the first news article. You can see here Chola Gangam Lake, a 1,000 years old symbol of Rajendra Chola's victory, lies in the ruins in Ariyalur. So this is the place, right? Now, also remember, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be giving a visit on this particular site. That's in why has been the visit? Because of the 1,000 years has been uh, passed, and then this particular lake was constructed exactly 1,000 years ago. Okay, now let's see the another news item. Again, you can see over here that King Rajendra Chol's military expedition to the Gangetic plain that inspired the building of Gangaikonda Cholapuram. That is the second news item. Now, third, this news item again mentions about the inscriptions of Rajendra Chola. So you can see the 4 copper plate inscriptions that detail reign deeds of King Rajendra Chola. Fine. These are the places at which the copper plate inscriptions have been found. So we have seen that 3 times the word Chola Empire, or let's say the contributions of Rajendra Chola, are given, and then that is the reason it's becoming important for us to read. Now, this slide summarizes all the news item at one particular place. So you can read this. See, near Brihadeshwar temple in Ariyalur district of Tamil Nadu lies Chola Gangam. That is a tank. Okay, and PM is also giving a visit at this particular place on this particular day. Fine. Now, students, you need to understand that this temple which we are discussing here, the Brihadeshwar temple, this temple is different than the one about which we study in the basic books. So, you need to remember that Brihadeshwar temple, also known as the Rajrajeshwar temple, built at Tanjavur or Tanjore, the modern day Tanjore, that was constructed during the period of Rajraj Chola I. Okay, and this temple, Brihadeshwar temple, which is at Ariyalur district, okay, Tamil Nadu, this is constructed by Rajendra Chola I. This temple, Brihadeshwar temple, it's also known as Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple. Okay, or it is also known as Gangaikonda Choleshwaram temple. Gangaikonda Choleshwaram temple. So remember this. Okay, both temples are again dedicated to Lord Shiva, because we know that Rajrajeshwar I and even Rajendra Chola I was also the devotee of Lord Shiva. Okay, so you can read this context. Again, the next news item, the second news item, that is during the expedition, Rajendra Chola I defeated several kings and chieftains. So there's a event in the life of Rajendra Chola I which we will be discussing ahead. So that time this thing will be clear to you. Okay. Now the third news item. Among the most valuable records from Rajendra's time are 4 copper plate inscriptions. So you can see 4 set of copper plate inscriptions. Now the places are important. Read the name of the places: Tiruvalangadu, Karanthai, Tirukkalar, okay, and Asalam. So these are the 4 places where copper plate inscriptions of Rajendra Chola I have been discovered, right? And that is really important. Why? Because it highlights Chola lineage, the temple endowments, and the military expeditions led by Rajendra Chola I. And about this military expedition, we will be learning in today's video. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, fine guys, before starting the exact content, let me tell you, if you have any doubt, particularly with respect to history or current affairs, you can directly connect with me at rohan.salunkhe@upscprep.com. Fine, this is my official mail address. These are my other social media handles, that is Telegram channel link and the Instagram link. So you can connect with me there as well. Fine. So let's move ahead. Okay. The map which you are seeing on the screen, this is the influence, or let's say this map is showing you the exact power or the reach of the power of Chola dynasty. So let me tell you, see, the one which is highlighted with blue, this particular part, this is the Chola territory. It means that Rajendra Chola will be having direct influence on this particular region, which is again colored with, or which is again highlighted with blue. The second one is the Chola influence, in the sense this particular part and the one which is highlighted here in the pink. So you need to understand that on the areas highlighted with pink color, Chola king will not be directly ruling, but he will be having some chieftains. What do we mean by chieftains? Chieftains will be some persons who will be ruling these places on behalf of him. Okay, so you need to remember that these chieftains will be acting like the governors, okay, the modern days governors, and they will be accepting the supremacy of Chola king. Okay, so any which way, chieftains will be subordinate to Chola king. Okay, remember this. Now on the map, let me erase it. On the map over here, you can see two important cities. One is Tanjavur, which is here. Second is Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. So you need to remember, Tanjavur was the previous capital of Chola dynasty under the leadership of Rajaraja Chola. Rajaraja Chola I. Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. So there's a different story behind the establishment of that city. We will be discussing ahead in the subsequent slides. You need to remember that Gangaikonda, Cholapuram was established as a new capital during the period of Rajendra Chola I. Rajendra I. Okay, so remember these facts. Okay, so let's move ahead. Fine. The imperial Cholas. When we refer to the Cholas, which we study particularly in the early medieval Cholas, these are referred to as imperial Cholas. Now guys, see, the imperial Cholas are different than the Cholas which were ruling during the Sangam period. So in ancient India, we also refer to Sangam age. I will be making a different video on this Sangam age. Many of the students had requested, and many of the students are usually confused about the Sangam age, Sangam literature. So I will be coming up with a video. But remember, during Sangam period, there were three powers, CCP: Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas. So these Cholas are the previous one, and the one which we are discussing here, these are the imperial Cholas. Okay, so you can say that the imperial Cholas are somewhere or the other in the lineage of the previous Cholas only. Okay, fine. Now let me tell you guys why these Cholas, why the early medieval Cholas are called as imperial Cholas. The answer to which is on the previous slide. You can see Rajendra Chola, he used to rule in this particular territory directly, but he had his influence outside the Indian subcontinent. You can see the Southeast Asian nations are coming under his influence. So what do we mean? It means that now the Cholas will be having imperialistic attitude, that is, they are moving out of their own territory, and then they are like colonizing the other parts of the world as well. So this is one of the finest example, and that is the reason we are referring to them as the imperial cholas. Okay, now let us understand about the lineage of the Chola kings. The first one is Vijayalaya Chola, the founder of the Chola dynasty. Second one is Rajendra Chola I. Now, why do we refer to these uh, like numbers 1, 2, 3? Because in the lineage ahead, you will get to see that the same names will be repeated. Rajendra I, then Rajendra II, then 3, and so on. Right. So remember, Rajendra Chola I was again one of the most powerful king of the Chola Empire. You need to remember that his capital was at Tanjore. He led expeditions on Sri Lanka. Okay, Sri Lanka expeditions, invasion of the Sri Lanka. Fine. Then you also need to remember that the famous Brihadeshwara temple, which is there in Tanjore, which is also one of the finest example of Dravidian style of architecture. Dravidian style of architecture was established under the reign of Rajendra Chola I. Now moving ahead to the next powerful king, son of Rajendra Chola I, that is Rajendra Chola I. And this Rajendra Chola is the same person who is in news, and that is the reason we will be referring to Rajendra Chola and the contributions in detailed manner. Then the next important king is Rajadhiraj Chola I. Now, see, there are again multiple contributions of these kings. I have discussed in my lectures of UPSC Essential Foundation course in detail about these things. As of now, just we are referring to the important events, right? So, Rajadhiraj Chola, okay, Rajadhiraj Chola, you need to remember that he had led expeditions to Deccan, India. Okay, just remember these things. Now let's see the contributions of Rajendra Chola I. So here it is. This is the image of Rajendra Chola I. You can read here the time in which he ruled or let's say he was the king during this particular period from 1014 CE to 1044 CE. Okay. Now, the important events we are going to see, one of the most important event in the life of Rajendra Chola was the military expedition to the Gangetic plain, to the banks of river Ganga. Remember this. Now, when he was moving ahead, so let's say, suppose this is the Chola's territory, right? This is somewhere Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. When he was moving towards the bank of river Ganga, remember he passed through Odisha, he passed through Bengal, and why did he lead the expedition? Bringing Ganga water, okay, holy waters of Ganga, to his new capital in the Kaveri Delta, that is Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. So this is the place where Gangaikonda, Cholapuram is, and this is the place where माउथ ऑफ रिवर कावेरी इज. ठीक है, तो कावेरी डेल्टा हम लोग जो बोलते हैं वो यहाँ पे है. एंड एट द सेम प्लेस on the bank of river Kaveri there is a city called as Gangaikonda Cholapuram, established by Rajendra Chola I, and that was the capital city of him, okay, of Chola dynasty during his period, right? Now you need to remember that so let me tell you a story behind this. See, Rajendra Chol, he was staunch devotee of Lord Shiva, right? And then what happened during his particular period is like he had a dream. He wished to bring waters from river Ganga so that he can do Abhishekam of Lord Shiva in the temple. That is the Gangaikonda Cholapuram, Choleshwaram or Brihadeshwar temple, right? And for doing this, he should be having huge amount of water, right? So what he planned? He planned of creating a small tank. That tank is not as small, but that was a huge reservoir. Okay, he planned of creating a reservoir where he brought waters from river Ganga. So when he was moving, obviously no enemy nation will will be willing to let your army pass through his soil, right, his territories. So the same thing happened here. And when Rajendra Chola was moving, he defeated multiple kings, multiple chieftains, and then he went there. He was standing there on the bank of river Ganga. He was happy. He brought the water in huge pots, and the pots were laid down on the bullock carts, and then he brought it back, right. And then he poured the waters into a reservoir that is called as Chola Gangam reservoir or Chola Gangam tank. We'll refer to that in the subsequent slide. The second important event is naval operations against the Sri Vijay kingdom, which is in southern Sumatra. Southern Sumatra means where? Indonesia. Okay, it's part of Indonesia. So on the basis of this particular concept, UPSC has asked a question in prelims, and answer to which was Rajendra Chola I. He has led expedition against Sri Vijaya kingdom. Okay, remember this. Now moving ahead. Now you can see this image over here. You can see Rajendra Chola. He is standing on the bank of river Ganga, and he is observing. He is happy. He is calm, and what we can say, that particular element of smile is visible on his face. And you can see here that now he's watching the waters of river Ganga being carried on the bullock carts. Okay, so that was the thing. Now the second important event, as we have seen, that it led to the expeditions, the military or naval expeditions on the Southeast Asian countries. Similarly, Rajendra Chola also conquered parts of Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Southeast Asian territories. So we have seen in the map previously that there was the influence of Chola dynasty on these particular areas. So that was under the reign of Rajendra Chola. Okay, he constructed a city. The city was known as Gangaikonda Cholapuram, a water tank known as Chola Gangam, and a temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram. That temple, as we have referred to earlier, it was called as Brihadeshwar or Choleshwaram. Choleshwaram, that is Ishwar of Cholas. Fine. He got the title of Gangaikonda Cholan. What do we mean by Gangaikonda Cholan? The one who has conquered the Ganga plain or the Gangetic plain. Okay. Now, guys, I will take few seconds of yours and let me introduce you to our foundational course, that is UPSC Essentials course. These are the features over here. Now see, in UPSC Essentials course, we are providing comprehensive live coverage of UPSC syllabus. Okay, right from your prelims to interview. Prelims, mains, interview, everything is covered in that. We are providing a phase-wise approach. So what do we mean by phase-wise approach? So our course is designed into different phases, right from the foundational NCERT phase, then GS basics phase, and then the third is advanced phase. Okay, now the access to the class recording will be there with you for 3 complete years. Why 3 years? Because the preparation requires 1 year, and the exam cycle itself is in the 1 year process, right? And 1 year extra we are giving you. Now you will get personalized on demand mentorship sessions again for 3 years, and mentors will be the past rankers. Abhijit sir himself will be the mentor, right? And even I will be also mentoring to the students. So now I will be covering your weekly current affair lectures, and the material will be also provided. And the beauty is that the current affair classes, the access to the current affair classes will be for 3 years. That is, if you enroll for 2026, so you will get the current affairs for 26, 27 and 28 as well. Okay, now free test series are also included, right? 45 prelims tests, 16 mains tests, again sectional and the full length tests. Everything is included here. So you can check the course on this particular link. Okay, Guys, you can see this image over here. This is the temple of Gangaikonda, Cholapuram. Right now, see this structure over here. This structure. This is a gateway, but right now it's in dilapidated condition. You can see that the gateway is broken. Right. Since we have discussed these things, that the Dravidian structure of architecture was being followed by the Chola dynasty kings, right? So out of the structure, like you can see right now here, the main temple, which is above the Garbhagriha. This is the Garbhagriha over here. This is the temple structure, right? And the gate which you are seeing right now, which is not there in the condition intact, that is called as Gopuram. Gopurams are nothing but the gateways, okay, the entry gateways. And you can see that there is a boundary wall, and this boundary wall will be again encircling the entire temple complex. So the unique feature of Dravidian style of architecture was boundary wall and the Gopuram gateway. So remember this. Fine. Now we will also discuss few other contributions of Rajendra Chola I. You need to remember that the administration was comparatively more centralized during the period of Rajendra Chola I. Centralized administration means that the power was intact in the hands of the king. Okay, the king was the final authority. Secondly, the maritime trade with China and Southeast Asia. So we have seen in the map previously that on the Southeast Asian countries, Rajendra Chola was having influence, and definitely that region will be like utilized for the trade, right? So you can see the trade was conducted, the maritime trade was there with China as well as with Southeast Asian countries. One of the strongest naval force was there during the period of Rajendra Chola I, and that is evident with his expedition on Sri Vijay Empire. Okay, now he patronaged both Shaivism and Vaishnavism. So Shaivites, the devotee of Lord Shiva; Vaishnavites, the devotee of Lord Vishnu. So both were like again both the sects, Shaivism and Vaishnavism, were patronaged by the king. Okay, remember this. The Brihadishwara temple at Gangaikonda, Cholapuram, this we have discussed, and the city was itself established by Rajendra Chola I. Why this city was established? To commemorate the victory over Gangaikonda. Recently, that he brought waters from river Ganga for the Abhishekam, right? And to commemorate that particular event, he led to the establishment of an entire city there. Okay, that is the Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Gangaikonda, we have seen the meaning of this word. Gangaikonda means the victory over the Ganga. Okay, then military and hydraulic engineering were the supreme aspect of his technological development, right? So when we talk about military engineering, so let me tell you guys, the ships which were there constructed during the period of Rajendra Chola I were technically advanced. Weapons were there, arms and ammunitions were there on the ships. The ships were such technically advanced so that they can like be taken away till like far distance. Okay, and like some propellers, some particular type of technology was also there. The masts, this particular thing which we see now over the ship, this is called as the mast. So this mast were also made by accurate use of physics. Okay, some material was used so that the speed of the ship and the what you can say, the acceleration can be then properly controlled, and multiple other things were there. When we talk about hydraulic engineering, you need to remember that irrigation facilities and drainage facilities, water conservation facilities were developed during the period of Rajendra Chola I. And Chola Gangam Lake is also one of the important example of this hydraulic engineering. Now you can see this entire image over here. See this is right from here. This entire structure is the Chola Gangam Lake. Chola Gangam tank or Chola Gangam reservoir. Now let me zoom in a bit here. See this. You can read here what exactly is written. Poneri tank. So current name of this Chola Gangam lake is Poneri tank. So remember this. Okay. Chola Gangam lake. Now, temple architecture, one of the important aspect of Chola dynasty. Guys, see, Chola architecture, the sculptures, the architecture, the temple architecture of the Chola period are called as the great living Chola architecture. Okay, the great living Chola architecture. Now, why do we say so? Because if you see the sculptures, again on this particular part of the temple, that this is called as Viman. If you see the sculptures on the walls, the external walls, the internal walls, you will see that the sculptures are literally talking to you. Okay, they are looking as if they're so finely carved, so that like you can see and you can say that they are lively. Okay, and these architectures, these sculptures do tell us some stories associated with epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana, right? And which makes the sculptures live. Got it? In the sense, like you can see the epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata are carved on these particular temple walls. Okay. Now, they evolved the architectural style of the Pallavas. That was the Dravidian style. So we have discussed earlier the unique features of Dravidian style. The first important feature is Gopurams. Gopurams are nothing but the gateways, the entry gate towards the temple. Remember this. Then the water tanks. You can see recently we have discussed the Chola Gangam lake as well. So water tanks, water reservoirs were also one of the important aspect of Dravidian style of architecture. The third most important feature is the boundary wall. Okay, boundary wall is also one of the important aspect of the Dravidian style of architecture. Then the last aspect, which is again important, it is called as literature. To be more specific, Tamil literature. So you can see the area of influence of Cholas was in the modern days Tamil Nadu. The findings have been also there in the Tamil Nadu region. So yes, Tamil literature was flourishing under the reign of Rajendra Chola I. During the period of Rajendra Chola I, he patronaged different Tamil poets. Okay, Tamil poetry is also flourished during his period. And to tell you guys, the most important or the most famous Tamil poets were Appar and Sambandar. So this image which you see over here, this is the image of Saint Appar. Okay, and this is the image of Saint Sambandar. Okay, they were Tamil poet, they were Tamil saints. And that's all with respect to this particular video on the topic of Rajendra Chola and the news associated with him and then the contributions of him. I'm sure that this particular information will be helpful for you. We'll bring some another important topics which are in news and which are relevant from your history, ancient, medieval and art and culture point of view. Till then, revise the things and all the best.